Welcome to the Claims Underground podcast with your hosts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis, where we help policyholders just like you understand your policy and how to navigate through an insurance claim. We advocate for homeowners as well as businesses when insurance companies won't pay. So if you're tired of getting the runaround and ready to find out what's really going on, then let's get down to business and learn from the insurance claims experts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis.
Good evening. Welcome to Claims Underground. We have a fantastic topic tonight on how to manage your ALE and how not to be a hostage to it. So introducing myself, I am Troy Willis. I am a licensed public adjuster. I am a certified umpire and appraiser. I have certifications at IRCRC. I'm a retired builder of over 30 years, and I'm also an expert witness. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Corey Locke, and he can tell you a little bit about himself and give his background. You got the floor, Corey.
Good evening. This is Corey Locke, public adjuster, also expert witness, and I'm just about ready to celebrate my 35th year as an adjuster. I started in 1988. I'm also triple mastered at IICRC, also ACAC smoke and fire expert. I'm an estimator of contents and structure. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to manage your ALE. Don't be a hostage. And guys, the reason I brought this up is that I've had several claims in the last week that this has come up. Troy, do you have anything that's come up recently for any of your claims for ALE being a problem for your clients?
I do. I have a couple that actually has, they had a water loss. And what ended up happening was the mitigator that came in, and we spoke about this in another show with Kyle Herndon, to dry the concrete. And so they actually started the mitigation, but they didn't provide the documents per request of the insurance company. So we actually received a letter actually yesterday indicating they took a position and claimed that they wasn't given enough information and there wasn't enough documentation, as if they didn't have the opportunity to inspect the property themselves based on what the mitigators submitted to them, and they felt his bid was high. And so with all that said, they're still trying to say, well, we don't owe for ALE because the kitchen that was actually is no longer in use was actually damaged during the mitigation, along with a kitchen island, which they decided to pay for just the island, not the whole kitchen. That's what they're thinking right now they're going to do. And, we pointed out there's a match code here, a 2695 code here in California that you're going to have to match this. And so they end up, their position is that we don't really owe that much, but we'll pay you something. And they offered, not even 10% of what this mitigator's bill was. But we right back at the process of this loss of use. We still need to get our clients a place to stay and get them out of the house while the construction goes on. And their position now is that, well, but we don't owe money for the rest of the damage to the kitchen. Therefore, the kitchen should be usable if the mitigator didn't do the damage. So we don't owe for it. So we're not going to pay ALE for them to live outside the home.
It's such a creative way to say that we don't owe you anything. And it's really late in the game. I mean, that claim that you're talking about has been going on, 4 months?
For exactly 4 months. Great memory.
I got a client that a lady that's, not in good health. She is disabled, and her carrier decided that we're going to rip out your whole kitchen, all the base cabinets, all of the plumbing, all of everything that makes it a kitchen. And we don't believe that we owe to put you up in a hotel. We're going to throw a little bit of money at you for fair rental value and call you good. It's up to you to move yourself along. And the estimate was lacking. The estimate was not complete. And the fact that the woman couldn't use her kitchen, and we're going on 11 months now that she's been at war with her insurance company, and the fact that they just simply say, well, we don't care from the standpoint of what you want. We just want to pay what we think our managed contractor says it is. Now, that's another question that we've talked about, those preferred vendors who will write estimates based upon what they're told to write their estimates for and to get additional work. But the question becomes how to manage your ALE. And the crux of the question is, am I being displaced from what was prior to the loss, what was my comfort and my level of living, to something that's less. And if the answer is I can't use my bathroom and it's the only bathroom in my house and it's torn up, you got a problem. You're not able to maintain your standard of living that you had. And that's the crux of additional living expense. It's to put you up into an area that is comfortable, that's safe, that doesn't expose you to uh, sewer gases that maybe your floor is emanating because you had a loss that required to open up the plumbing, take off a toilet, take out a shower. That's unreasonable to think that, I don't have to put you up in a house just because, yeah, it's going to cost more money. Unfortunately, guys, your insurance company is in the business of risk. They take money from you and thousands, hundreds of thousands of others, and they spread that risk over everyone. So to say that we're not going to pay for something just because it costs money, they missed the point. And the point is, they were happy to take your money when you just wanted to pay premiums, but they don't want to pay you money when it is your turn to be taken care of when in your time of need, and that's intolerable, and that's a breach of your contract. So let's get back to how do you manage this? And you manage this by basically being assertive. You have to put on your big shoes here. You got to say, this is not what I had before the loss. This was not my standard of living. This was not what I was living in. This creates a hazard for me, whatever that hazard is. It could be your child is immunocompromised. It could be that you have an adult parent that's on oxygen. You have to be very specific with these people. And when I say these people, the claims personnel, you have to start from day one, start explaining to them what your situation is. I have myself, my elderly mother, I have a dog that's, in heart trouble, I have a child with ADHD. Even when you explain it to them, they're not going to pay attention. So you have to continually document and say, this is not what I want. What I want is to be safe, and you're not making me safe. That's the first part. You have to continuously go after this as if that this is money under, your bed, and it's there. All you got to do is get down, crawl down under the bed, and grab it. It's not a heavy lift, but it's a consistent lift. You have to tell them your situation, remind them of your situation, and document your situation. That way, when it goes sideways, which it will, you can't be claimed, they can't claim, oh, you never told us that you have stage 4 lung cancer. Never told us that your child has ADHD. You never told us that you have a parent or a loved one with dementia. You never told us that you have to have a bathroom ready for an elderly parent that is incontinent. Whatever it is, you would need to get past, the feeling I got to explain my life to this person that doesn't know me. You got to get into it, because where you don't get into it creates problems for you later. And most of this is from the standpoint that, let's just say you did get housing and they put you up in a hotel and you got a big family. So they put you up in a hotel with 2 rooms. Each room's $300 a night. So, uh, $600 a night you're spending out of your ALE, and 30 days you got $18,000 that you just went out the door with
Easy.
to manage your home, and no adjuster is going to have this paid out in 30 days. And when they do pay it out in 30 days, it's going to be ridiculously bad. So let's just say now you're into the second 30 days. Now you're at $36,000 of your limited coverage. And by the way, guys, if you're not reading what your policy says for your coverage for additional living expense from day one, you will get hosed. You will be taken advantage of, and you're to go, well, God, you delayed for 4 months, so you should pack on more money for my additional living expense. It will never happen. They will never admit that that's their problem. You should have managed this better from the very beginning, and they will blame you. And you're going to say, I just did what you told me to do. Guess what? They're never going to give you more money for additional living expense. So from day one, read what you got. Do you have additional living expense, or do you have a fair rental value? Fair rental value means that they're going to pay you the rental value of your home with everything in it. If you have a 5,000 square foot home and it's got a pool, a lap pool, or Olympic sized swimming pool, and it's on 5 acres, they must be looking for a replacement in that same neighborhood because that's what you had. That's what you're owed. That's what additional living expense or fair rental value should be compensating you for like. That's what it is. Now, the way they get away with that is say, well, you're really not inconvenienced. You're really the home is not livable. A home is livable when the amenities all work together. It's not that you have half the home falling off a cliff or burned out completely. A home is the amenities that make it a home. What is that? That's a bathroom. If you have one bathroom in your house and you have no bathroom, guess what, guys? Do they expect you to go defecate in the yard or mitigate on your floor? No. No. You would not expect that as for them as the adjuster, and neither should they want that for you. So you need to start advocating. I want to get to play a place that's safe, and I'm not safe right now. And until I get someplace other than this, I will not be safe, and list the reasons why. You are calling them and following up with an email. Do not let this go verbal. Verbal gets ignored. Verbal gets dismissed. You're emailing and putting it in the claim file. So, day one, know what you have for coverage. Know the extent of money that you have for coverage. Also, find out where I need to go to be safe. Is it an apartment? Is it long-term commercial housing? Commercial housing is available in most towns. You just have to look for it, and that's when they have commercial executives coming in and need to spend a month, 2 month, 3 months in your location. So start calling around. Don't allow this to be something the insurance company is going to do for you because they will never do it correctly. They will they will hand it off to a housing vendor, and that housing vendor is not living in your town. That housing vendor does not know where you live, does not have the sensibilities of what you want, and quite frankly, just wants to get you locked in. There's nothing wrong with these people. They do a service, and I've worked with them, and they're very diligent people, but they're not in your town. And your need is one thing, and their need to get you placed, of which they will put you in a hotel or put you into a long-term housing or put you into temporary housing, whatever it is, they get a service fee on top of whatever they're paying.
Mhm.
So it's good for them. That's their business. That's how they make money. And there's nothing wrong with that. That this is America. People make money. So, but the fact is you want to be safe. So you need to dictate the terms. I need to be safe. This is the area I need to be in. This is the problems I have. This is what you're going to take care of. And they're going to keep saying no, but you're going to keep saying no, but you're not taking care of this and you need to. And so you're going to be pushing hard on this. You need to know how much to spend. You need to know where you want to live, and you need to get it, find it, tell them, and say, this is what I want. Because you don't want to get to where my other client got to this last week, where it's taken us, I'd say, 6 months of getting more money out of the carrier. I haven't been on it all 6 months. I've only been on about three, but she burned through 3 months, and then we had 3 months of arguing, and finally we have a reasonable amount. We're not done, but now we burned through 6 months of ALE, and lo and behold, $300 a night at a hotel times 6 months. Lots and lots and lots of money went out the door. They were told this repair is now going to be 5 months. Okay, we just take 5 months times $300 a night. You don't have enough money. You will run out of money. This is the classic mistake. And I have a carrier that I deal with that they don't care how much you spend. You can go get an Airbnb for $600 a night. They don't care. They just said you want to live where you want to live. But what they know is your limits are very low, and you're going to blow through your limits. Someone paying $600 a night and you only have $32,000 in ALE coverage,
Too much.
they're thinking to themselves, well, they'll just put more money on. Have you ever had them put more money on, Troy, for them blowing through the ALE?
Not once. I mean, it just ain't something that happened. And we always see people come back looking for more, or
Right.
sometimes they take too long to get into the repairs, or you get the carrier that is holding the claim up, as if one that you and I worked on
Mhm.
even recently, where, there's a limitation cap in State Farm's monthly allowance. And his home it suffice for more than that amount in some people's eyes for that monthly fee. I think it was at $30,000 a month that is they cap
Yeah.
their policies at. So now you
Right.
have a homeowner that has to find a place to stay that lives this type of lifestyle. And now we got to think about this. Now I got to find you some place that's a $30,000 a month place to live in, and that's because that's capped. I mean, his home, is worth a lot of money, which it could be more than 30,000 in the area because we see homes is 20 million more over there all the time. So it's kind of
Right.
like, he's being held hostage as we speaking regarding his
Mhm.
ALE because we can't find a home you put you in. But realistically, let's look at how that can work out. We can look at it from the standpoint that maybe as the carrier, instead of us trying to figure out how to cut every cost to keep the penny down, if this is how much you're going to be entitled, why not just cut you a check? Not cut you a check for 10 months, 12 months, 6 months, let you do your own thing and say, come back again. But it's always about reducing that dollar down instead of just making it simplified. It's an easy walk at that point. You're not holding me hostage. You back them back over the fence to me. And at that point, as a consumer, I would feel comfortable to make my own choices versus some of these, third party companies to come in and find some of these customers or places, and it just don't fit their need. If they were living in a 4 bedroom house and you're giving them a 2 bedroom now, it don't fit their need.
Right.
Less
Right.
bathrooms, less space. You putting them further away from home, from the kids' schools and from their work, and you don't consider that. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on, and it pushes people like I can't do that. It's just too much more. And for all of us to live in California, nobody could, you put somebody out of their way 20, 30 minutes. Oh my God, you'd have messed up every day. I mean, everybody's day, the whole day, no matter
Right.
what they do. That 20 minutes will transpire into hours of delays of your time out here. And so, to be able to, what could one do? I mean, we've got to ask. I'm just kind of being a person that's advocating for
Right.
people. What could one do to say, hey, my ALE is being hostage. They're not finding me a place to stay that I feel comfortable with. One, and two, they're not trying to tell me they'll give me enough money that's reasonable. We find that all the time to get me somewhere to stay. What do I do?
Got to get past the adjuster. The adjuster's role is to give you a happy story and explain to you what we're going to do for you and note the file. That's it. That's the intake adjuster. That intake adjuster has no authority. That intake adjuster puts off the problems to other vendors, be it a mitigator, be it a housing person, be it a contents vendor, be it a restoration company dealing with fire, water, wind, mold, whatever it is. But the intake person, the first person you're talking to is the first investigator on the claim. And we've talked about this before. Your claim starts with you calling the insurance company. So let's just be very, very, very clear. You're starting an investigation talking to the intake person, but you're also explaining to them your need. Your need needs to be explained to them very, very, very specifically. Because if they're investigating their need, that's the best point. I told you from day one. I told Susie that I had this issue. I told Susie specifically that I've got a mother that has dementia, and I need to be very near to the bathroom because I'm constantly having to deal with this in the middle of the night. That alone is enough to say that your home is not sufficient to live in. You need to have facilities. To say that we're going to tear out your kitchen and you're undergoing stage 4 cancer treatment with twice a week you're going for chemo and you don't have a bathroom. Why is this reasonable and not something that people want to pay attention to? Well,
Yeah.
the reason for is that you didn't hit the checklist. You didn't say it up front that you got a serious need. You need to say you have a serious need, and you need to stay saying it on a serious need. And if you're not having someone pay attention to you, there's two things you can do. One, you say to that person, "When will I get my survey?" about my claim experience. When will my survey? Where are you sending my survey? Or how well I think that this experience has been. Survey is a big push for carriers. They want to be able to say, "Oh, our survey says that we're 99% satisfactory rate." No, 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 no. That's overstated by immense measure. So just starts talking to the intake person, say, "Are you sending me my survey? Because right now my survey would be very poor with your customer service. My customer service requires more than what you're giving me. So I will be very looking forward to where you're sending my survey. And oh, by the way, who is the chairman of your company? Because I think that I need to have a conversation about how you were trained as an employee because I'm not getting the service that I paid for. My premiums have paid for your job. Why are you not giving the service? Aren't I watch commercials. The commercial says we're the helping hands people. You're on my side. You're my neighbor.
Look,
I'm not
you giving away claim secrets now. We ain't gonna have no job in a minute. I heard you like call the CEO.
well,
No man running an insurance company making $1 million plus a year want to hear from me or people that's on this podcast listening. You can assure you that.
oh
So
no.
he's extremely upset to getting this problem resolved because he don't ever want to hear this again. And that is by far some of the best advice to give somebody though. Use the hierarchy. Go
I
to the
agree.
hierarchy.
Yeah.
Stop allowing the people to say no. I mean, boy, that's priceless though. I mean, it works. It's funny it works. Can I share one that you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
years
Please.
ago that I still laugh about today? Actually, you know what it is. When you get in trouble, you get in trouble. So, Mr. Locke had a client that they just really refused to pay attention to. They just kept pushing it back. Wasn't the adjuster just wasn't acting right. So we, of course, we do investigations ourselves, and so Mr. Locke himself found out who some of the higher up was on that chain, that hierarchy. And was he a vice president? I want to make sure it was that you called at
It,
home on his day off, and you
it might
threatened
it might have been.
to call his mother if he hadn't act right and treat the insured like he would treat her mother. And
I
did those
I
results
had
on
that.
Monday change?
I did have that number. Yes, I did.
And then the results changed on Monday for the insured.
It was positive for the homeowner. Let's just say that.
That is still by far the best one yet. All the fighting we do to tell his mother he's a VP of an insurance company made him do the right thing. I don't advise everybody to go out and track down people mothers. That's not what I'm saying, and call them up or do anything like that. But that's by far yet one of the most effective things I've ever seen happen. But and the whole point of that was he just refused to take no. And anybody who wasn't going to listen, it went as high up as somebody who had no choice but to listen. Obviously, and the job got done. So well done job back then. It's still good today. That's still one of the best ones yet.
I will say one last thing. I will, and I'm trying to put this out in the ecosystem that we're in. None of these people are inherently evil. None of these people are intentionally trying to jack you. There is no benefit to an adjuster. They get no additional monies at the end of the week, the month, the year to how many claims they denied or how many people they jacked over. That's not what this is. They're just trained at a certain to have a certain ability and no more. They're trained to only listen to so much and no more because listening to it more means more money that gets paid. So you're explaining something to someone that has lost the ability to listen beyond what you're telling them to. And your job is to, get them to think beyond what they've been trained and to start to empathize with you as I'm a policyholder. Are you a policyholder? Do you own a home? Do you have kids? Do you have a mother? I don't think that you want to go home and tell your mother how you didn't assist uh, another person that's probably the same age as your mother. I find that if we come at this with civility and understanding and don't come with our fists clenched, we might get farther. Not always. There are people that have their hackles up and they had a bad day or they started a bad week, and we acknowledge that and say, I'm just so sorry that
Absolutely.
it's a hard day. There are clients that you are working with as an IA. I remember you telling me this story that you were clients that you work for insurance companies and you would call them and they were so stressed out. They were beyond
Yeah,
measure of stressed.
they
And
were.
yeah. And you would ask me, why are they so stressed out? Because I worked on the inside longer than you did. And what was it that I told you?
Well, one, I mean, what they were going through, nobody was even showing any humane treatment to them. I mean, that was the biggest thing that I saw when I was an independent adjuster, too. Nobody ever explained nothing to them. They just kind of left them in the dark to let you say, whatever I do, I do. And a lot of them didn't trust insurance adjusters because they was told these horror stories about, what insurance adjusters go do to you if you have a claim. And many people were worried about that. They really were. They didn't know. No one never reads the policy, unfortunately, so they never knew what they had going on until it happened. And it takes in this business and industry, you have to listen. You can't make quick decisions just because it doesn't seem right. Just because of one word you hear, you don't think it's ain't enough for me. But when you really listen to people claims or listen to what's going on, and as you was talking about, document telling what's going on in the beginning, the middle, the end, keep reiterating. You find yourself seeing it differently, and that's what I see out of this all the time. Every claim that we have. But learning as an IA and seeing a lot of what people was going through, my heart went out for them. So I would start my day brand new every day. I don't come out here to judge you. And you're totally correct. Not once will someone ever say, hey, if you lowball this, we'll give you a bonus. That never happens. None of that. I didn't do any of that. I had conflicting issues with them on things that they were supposed to pay that they felt like they wasn't entitled to pay or didn't want to pay. But outside of that, it was never any of that. And like you say, all adjusters ain't bad. I've had some great experiences with some that I can call back today, that was off another claim and say, look, I'm having a problem with here. Can you look at it and see if we can help come to a resolution? And I got that right now with a claim, and it works. And I don't think it's a matter of, like you say, kind of feeling like I don't need the people in my business attitude, but you definitely have to look at what you put out sometimes is what you get back. And these insurance adjusters got a lot on their plate too. I'm not making nobody excuse. We deal with everyone's problem. That's our job. We deal with everybody's problem from the contract issue, the mitigation, the contact, I mean, the contents, the building, the loss of use fair rental value, whether it's business loss, the engineers, the architect, the hygienist. I mean, the list goes on, the attorneys, they go on and on who we deal with every day to bring a resolution to these people's claim. And it's really hard for people to have that trust because they just don't have that knowledge themselves. And it's hard to turn over that to somebody and say, do what you do. But we always say when you give it to an attorney, you let him do what he do because he
Mhm.
know how to do it.
This claims atmosphere or this claims environment that we're in, we deal with a lot of fear. And we talk about the fear
Yeah.
of the policyholder. Talk about the fear of what's uncertain for the policyholder. There's also a great deal of fear for the insurance adjuster. And I was an insurance adjuster for 26 years, and I can speak to this. I live this truth that there's a lot of fear of whether or not you're going to be fired. There's a lot of fear
Yeah.
that your job will be turned into something much worse. Your job will become something that you lose sleep over or you dream about how to handle claims. There's a lot of fear that goes along with being an adjuster, and God help some of these adjusters that have survived 30 years and they're just telling me,
Yeah.
Corey, I just need to last 2 more years, 3 more years, 5 years, and then I can leave. There's that fear that if they don't do what they're told, they will be boxed up and they won't have a job. And the other fear is, and this is a manufactured fear. I believe it's untrue because I have come out the other side of that. That adjusters believe that what they've been taught in the claims environment is not transferable to anywhere else. That they are basically stunted as an employee because they only know so much. And the inside track with a carrier is, well, you only know so much. You'll never survive outside this environment. What are you going to do if you're not an adjuster? What are you going to do? You've not been trained to do anything else, but so you're stuck. You might as well just suck it up, do what you tell you to do, and we buy into that. We have fear. Oh my God, we won't get a check in 2 weeks. What are we going to do? I mean, we won't have health care. We won't have vacation. We won't have all these other, retirement. So the fear of being kicked out of the club
It's
overrides sometimes their humanity.
I gotta say that's so true. You've been saying that for years too, and it's so true. And it's so unfortunate. You see it. You about know who those adjusters are. They still write the same kind of sheets, and they come in and they talk a great game about, okay, we're gonna work with you, and we agree this is what's going on, this and this, and then when you get back the estimate, it's like, who did I meet out there? Like, did you send this to somebody else memo and they wrote it? Because this is not what we talked about. Like you said, I gotta put on this. He has to put on his face to come out and deal with the insurer. But at the end of the day, just filling that seat, taking the directions, and trying to get through that week. So that boss ain't riding his back. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's tough to, even in this industry, even when I was an independent adjuster, it's tough because you look at the two differences. I was pretty much I was on my own. I mean, there was no micromanagement on my part at all, because there was nobody in my office technically that could write what what I was writing, or that was able to capable to actually determine the type of damages on that level. And even having the management I had, they didn't even know anything about the property damage side of this, just other just personal injuries and liability side, but no property. And yeah, those are always factors of how these numbers are determined, because you have a lot of people in positions that have no clue about this. They just feel a title because maybe a
Right.
degree, or like you said, from maybe the last company. This is all you did was manage, but you didn't manage this. You'll figure it out and catch up. And you yourself have had to, and myself, we reiterate in our pushbacks, not only the information where you in violation or you're incorrect with your interpretation, but we always cite the code to back it up. And then how many people read that? Even management. We had that laugh today. I mean, management don't even read it. You know what I mean?
No, they don't.
And again, because let's say we have to figure why they don't. One, they fill in that seat, or two, maybe they there long term and know their business. And usually that's the guy that's gonna give you a call. Or that's the guy that's gonna make it right. I truly I can't take it away from some of them. I had a manager call me up and say, listen, my adjuster was wrong. He started with that. He was wrong. What adjuster told me the case is closed. The claim is closed. When did that happen? Who closed it? He said, I closed it. I can close it. You can close it. The statute of limitation ain't up and you got the right to close it. Give me your manager. And I don't care what you say. That's what an email said. Here's my manager number. It's an arrogant email. And then manager called me up and said, I'm so sorry. He is so wrong. And how can I help you move forward? And we did everything together to put that client at where she needed to be. So it's a tough battle, I know, for a lot of insurers out here when they are in these situations, because it's their livelihood. They got kids, they got, family members, husband or wife, or maybe they, like you say, you may be having mom or dad, and you have nowhere to go. Your home is now inhabitable. You can't live there. And now insurance companies telling you, I'm your friend. You gave me all this money, but I can't really take care of this right now for you. It's got to sit on my desk for a while. I got 50,000 people before you. You're not quite priority as you used to be when you was making your payments. That was priority. If you missed a day, we sending you a letter. But now that you
Right.
got a claim, I can't send you a status letter and it's 10 months later. I mean, they just ghost for months. It's unreal, So with this battle that we know we having with them, as we always have our word of the night, or word of the day, what could you leave the people with that what you think could best help them on how to manage their ALE?
You need to assert your right to live. You need to assert that your predicament or your necessities of life need to be paid attention to, and that you need to be put into a safe situation the day before your loss and the day after your loss. And it's the obligation of the carrier to do that. End of story.
That's the way I say it. You heard him, people. In the story. Signing off. Troy Willis.
Corey Locke.
Thank you for joining Claims Underground.
Thanks for listening to the Claims Underground podcast. We hope you enjoyed this segment. If you need more information on insurance policies, feel free to check out our website, www.claimsunderground.com. And remember, when the insurance companies won't pay, we're here to help. Until next time.